Okay. So thank you again for watching. This chapter is going to be all about college students that went to college and have graduated on a four-year degree school, and they went on to have a career. And so today's guest is Gabriella. I'm going to have her introduce herself in a little bit, but I just want to remind you that the topic for today, you want to keep sharing these classes with your parents. Sit down and watch them with your parents, because the content is for you, for your future, but your parents are highly involved in that process. So you want to make sure that you do this together with them. Do not go to the financial aid appointment by yourself. And so you have to have that family engagement when you're making these decisions. But today's guest is Gabriella Farrell, and I want her to introduce herself. Gabriella, tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, how old you are, and where do you live?
Hi, my name is Gabriella. I'm 25 years old. I just moved to Austin, Texas, but went to college in St. Louis, Missouri. I did get my undergraduate degree there, and now I currently work as a Starbucks store manager for coming up on my second year. As a store manager, I've been with the company for 5, and my actual college degree is in dance.
Very, very good. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to do this. You have a very busy schedule and you're still in the process of unpacking your new place. So congratulations on your move, and thank you for taking the time. Okay, you already told us what you do, but tell us a little bit about what is your career like? What do you do in your regular job?
So my main portion of my job is to run the store, to hire and to staff and to schedule, taking care of inventory, making sure that the store is running at the highest capacity that it can. I manage about 40 employees, 6 of which are supervisors. And then I have a team of store managers who manage the stores around me. So we all collaborate on hiring events and making sure we have everything set for our district, because we work as a team on community events and outreach and all that. But daily in the store, mainly working with my 35 to 40 employees and making sure the store runs smoothly.
Very, very nice. A lot of work, a lot of people too, a lot of coffee, a lot of coffee. Everybody that's watching this, if you live in Austin, go see Gabriella at the store at...
It's in Hutto, Texas.
There you go. There you go. All right. Okay. So we already mentioned that, but did you get an education? Did you get a 4-year education, 2-year education? What was your education like?
Yeah, I after graduating high school, went right into my 4-year education, took the 4 years. I know some people graduate earlier, take a little bit longer, but it took me 4 years. Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay. And what type of school did you go? Did you go to junior college? Did you go to tech school? What kind of school did you go to?
I went to a liberal arts university. So I went to the university and took the 4 full years at the same institution.
Very, very good. What was it like to be in the same spot the whole time compared to other people that you know who jumped from institution to institution?
In my experience, it was a pretty small degree and a pretty small department. So it was nice to stay in the same university because I had the same group of people going along with me, and we could lean on each other for assistance. And I got really close with the professors and the advisors that I had. So that was a nice experience for me. But I have friends who did that and went to get their AA at a community college and then transferred into university who also enjoyed that because their experience was a little easier. But for my degree personally, I enjoyed staying in the same university.
Very, very good. Okay. So for what you do right now, did you need for your job right now? You went to 4-year school. For what you do right now, did you need to get a degree for your position that you hold right now?
My position does not require any college education. It is, some people would say, you have a +1 if you have the college education. You're looked at as you have the upper hand. But in the actual job description does not require any college education, just a high school diploma or a GED is the highest education.
Okay. So if you went to school, you got an education, but you're doing a job that does not really require that. How did you get the skills to do what you do right now? you went to school and you learned a bunch of stuff, but your major does not match what you're doing right now. How did you get the skills to do what you're doing right now?
I think that regardless of college degrees, going to university or going to a higher education gives you more responsibility, because you're most likely you're on your own. If you're living at home, you're in charge of your own schedule. In high school, you're being fed, this is the assignment you need on this day, this is the project, this is the person you're working with. And when you get to college, they just kind of give you the deadlines and they tell you you have to do these things, and you're in charge of creating that schedule for yourself and creating those deadlines to make sure that you have everything submitted on time and done in the correct way to get the best grades. You're in charge of crafting your own schedule, looking up your degree and what courses you need and figuring all that out. Obviously, there's advisors to help you, but you're pretty much the one doing that all on your own. So it teaches you a lot of determination and self-sufficiency, and making sure that you are looking out for yourself versus, like I said, in high school, where you're kind of being guided through that 4 years. So that taught me a lot of just self-management. And I worked at Starbucks when I was in college, so that kind of helped me move up in the company there. But I think that without that independence, I lived by myself, but not very far from my family. So I wasn't completely alone. I had my help from my family, but it did teach me a lot of being an adult, being on my own and working towards goals that I wanted to, instead of just hanging out doing nothing on the weekends because I didn't have to do anything.
Because it's mostly the life of the high schooler, right?
You're in college and you have your own money and you can go buy ice cream whenever you want. You have to tell yourself not to do that.
Darn. But then when you grow up, you can keep eating the ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
It's all good. Okay. So are you able to grow in your specific field without an education? You're telling us you've been in the same career for 5 years, you're growing. Are you able to grow and excel and keep moving up in Starbucks or in that position that you are right now without specific traditional education? Tell us about the other people that are in the market for that.
Yeah, like I said, starting as a barista, I didn't require any extra education to get to the store manager position. My direct superior is the district manager of our district. His position also does not require a college degree, but the position above his does. So if you wanted to be in charge of the whole region of Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, everything, Texas, that's a very much higher position in the company. But all the way up to a district manager position, which could make really good money. It's a very fruitful career. Does not require an actual degree, just says, high school education or GED, or substituted with, I think their position is like 4 to 5+ years of experience. So they also take that into account. I would say that not a lot of companies require the same thing. I think that my company, Starbucks, is a lot more open to that kind of experience as validation for your skills, because they see that lots of people go through life and learn skills. Like you're saying, you can learn skills in school or you can learn skills in life, and everybody knows the same thing. You just learn it a different way. So yeah,
that's a good thing to know, that corporations are validating that. Sometimes it didn't work for you to go to school, but you still have gifts and abilities. So do they offer continuing education? Do you have to get something done to continue growing? Like you say, not a position above you, but the third one will require that you do some kind. Talk about the programs that Starbucks, your corporation, offers for you to keep that continuity, or do you need to get that outside of that and then pay for yourself or take time? How does that work for growth and encouragement for growth?
Mm-hmm. Specifically in Starbucks, they do offer full college tuition for your first bachelor's degree. So if you hadn't projected or completed any bachelor's degree so far, you can get 100% covered bachelor's undergraduate degree. If you wanted to continue into graduate master's degrees, you would have to get that on your own. I don't believe there's anything that they would go out of their pocket to pay for, like an MFA or anything, an MBA. But they do offer, and that's not just for upper management, it's for everybody that works for Starbucks, is offered free college tuition. So that's a great thing because it helps a lot of people continue their education while working there, and it's not something that they hold you down and say you have to work here forever just to get this. They want to empower them, but it is offered. And I would say that most people that I know that are in the program right now are looking at growing with the company, so they are usually having that mindset of getting their degree and moving up in management, learning more about business management or people skills or whatever their degree is. They typically want to take that into a higher career.
That is super good. They're encouraging the employees to keep growing, to stay within the company and encouraging them. That's awesome. So free education exists as long as you are willing to stay there. That's awesome to hear. Not many companies are offering that kind of, it's an extra perk. It's a very nice extra perk to be a part of that. Okay. So what was the process like for you to begin in that career and where you are right now? Tell us a little bit about how you talked about how growing, transitioning from high school to college, learning those personal skills, learning to manage yourself, learning to organize yourself. Now talk about professionally. How does growing in that career from the 5 years that you've been there help you grow?
When I started working at Starbucks, I started as a barista, and I didn't move up until I had graduated college because I didn't feel I had enough time to devote. I wanted to complete my degree 100% focused on that. After I graduated, I started moving up and started taking on more responsibilities at my job because I felt like I had been doing that in college. And then I went back to work and felt like I didn't really have any responsibilities or any to-do lists. I was just kind of going to work and then going home and didn't feel any major fulfillment like I did whenever I completed, any projects or completed my degree. I felt like almost like a plateau. So wanted to take on more responsibilities at work and was offered to move up and given the tools in my job. Luckily, I had a really amazing manager who helped me move up and gain those skills. And she kind of took me under her wing and showed me what it was like to be a manager, what it's like to run a store. So I got a little look into that, which is really nice. I would say, luckily, I had a really amazing store. Not everybody has the same situation, especially with different careers and different companies. But I do think that I learned a lot of skills in college that helped me manage my time and understand priorities and to-do lists and being able to say, I have these 5 things to do, which one is the highest priority, which one do I need to do first? And that was a big help for me. That actually helped me stand out from the other candidates that were going for the store manager position. When it came to interviewing and, showing my accolades and showing what I've done, that's obviously what they want to know when they're interviewing. So it was nice to have those under my belt going into it prepared with the experience already.
So that's really, really a good point to make, because most of the time when you're applying for a job out of college, they're expecting you to have experience and you don't have experience.
Yeah.
But if you are working at a place while you're going to high school, when you get out of high school and you're applying for a job, you already have that experience. So it's a very good idea to kids that are watching this that are high school. If you want to get a job right out of high school and you want to start being a productive part of the society and you don't want to keep depending on your parents, that's a great idea to start somewhere and look for companies that have room for you to grow within the company, because if you excel there, they're going to keep you there. They're going to keep pushing you. Find a good manager, right? you have the time to find a good manager there. Okay.
I would also say for people who are looking at jobs as a hiring manager, I like to hire high school students because I know that that's something that I went through, and going through your first job and learning those work ethic skills outside of just doing schoolwork, it's a completely different realm. But also not to be afraid to ask to move up, because a lot of times I'm not going to go out to each employee and say, hey, do you want to be a supervisor or do you want to move up? If they come to me and they're excited about it, that shows me that they want to do it. And a lot of times I find that people were like, oh, I was waiting for you to ask me if I wanted to promote. And a lot of times you miss the ball. So being like courageous and just thinking that someone's going to come to you is not going to happen. Go out of your way to do it. And that is something that helped me a lot, because if I hadn't gone and asked, probably would not be in the career that I'm at.
Very, very good point. So yeah, be bold
Mhm.
and let your manager know that you have high expectations
Yeah.
for where you are. That's super good. Very, very good. Okay, let's turn back a little bit
Mhm.
back to college. You did go to college, you did the 4 years in the same university. We are also teaching kids, if that's something that you want to do, if that's the path that you want to take, there's ways to afford it. There's ways to make that happen. Tell us a little bit about your experience in that realm.
Mhm. I was lucky enough to have a father who worked at a neighboring university, and we were able to get some tuition reimbursement through that. So that was a really amazing perk that I received just because my dad worked at a university. The other thing that I had to go through is FAFSA and looking for grants. I took out some loans, as pretty much everybody does. Um, but finding those scholarships and finding those grants is actually really easy. And a lot of people don't do it because they think they're not going to get it, or they think they have to write an essay and it's going to take a lot of time, but it could save you thousands of dollars. So if you think that your one essay is not worth $5,000, I would rethink the time management there and what your time is worth, because a lot of my fellow students did not take the grants or did not go out of their way to get the scholarships. And like I said, I really had a small department, so there were only a handful of scholarships for the dance department. And I was almost only one applicant. Like every year out of 50 students in the department, it was like me and two other people that applied for them, because people just thought, oh, I have to take out loans to go to college. And I ended up saving somewhere between 10 and 15,000 just on getting scholarships, getting grants, and asking for tuition help from the school. They want to help you because they want you to go to college. They don't want people to have to not go to school. So that is something that I definitely encourage to everybody: is go out of your way, talk to people, ask, where can I get money?
That's right. So I know that you did that with the financial advisor, but did you also talk to your department? Who do you talk to in your department to find those? Because sometimes the financial advisor has thousands and thousands of people. Where else can you find help at the university?
Depending on the university, like my school had the professors were actually the advisors because they were dealing directly with those students. I know some people who have larger universities who have people who are specifically just advisors that don't do anything else other than advising. And they are usually the ones that can help you because they know what scholarships and what grants apply to your degree. Because usually there's ones for science and there's ones for computer and there's ones for math. And it depends on what you're working on and the courses that you're taking, what year you're graduating even. There's a lot of limitations, but that's great because that also means there's a lot of options for you. So I would say you can always contact the financial aid office, but my advisor is the one that helped guide me the most because she was able to show me, like, here's the 10 things that you can apply to. This one wants an essay. This one, you just literally type your name in. Some of them I didn't even have to do anything except for apply online. It was like I was asking for a credit card or something. You just kind of type starting an account, and then they email you later, here's your grant. It's super easy. But my advisor was the one that helped me the most. I did go to financial aid with my family a handful of times, especially when we started doing the loans, because then I wanted to figure out more information about what the loans meant. I had no idea what loans were or how they worked or who was going to pay for them or how I was going to pay for them.
The most important part, who's going to pay for them, right?
How much it's going to cost. And, you want to know all that information up front before you sign away your life to too many dollar signs. So definitely my advisor was the most helpful, but I did go to financial aid quite a few times.
Very, very good. So going back, so we talked about your career, talking about what you've been in college, and now the blend of the two, and all those steps that have taken you this far. If in hindsight, if you were to talk to yourself, 5-7 years ago, whatever, it's been that long? No.
Yeah, 2014 is when I started.
Okay, yeah. So, wow, it's been a while. Dang. Okay, so if you were to talk to yourself as a senior in high school, what would you tell a high school senior today, now that you've gone through the 4 years of college, now that you've worked, and now you are really very successful at what you do, you're doing something that you love, you're using your gifts and abilities. If you were to look back, what would be something that you want to tell them?
I think that I always have thought I wish I had done like a minor in business or a minor in something marketing or something related to the field I'm doing. Although I had no idea I was going to be doing that, I wish I had it now because I do want to continue growing in my company, and I know that that's something that they look for. And like I said, not required, but it does help them knowing that you know that information. They're not going to say you have to have this, but when they see it, they like to see that. Um, but I also wouldn't change anything. I really enjoyed my college experience, and I think it set me up in a lot of ways. Although it was a bachelor in fine arts, and I'm not doing anything in fine arts right now, those courses gave me a lot of skills that I think that a lot of other college degrees don't, or life skills don't. I just had to learn a lot of self motivation and that work ethic that a lot of times you kind of have to be thrown into the fire to figure out. I gained a lot of that through my college experience. So I don't think I would change much other than, like I said, trying to get some kind of business, just the word business on the bottom of my degree would be great. I'm just going to write it in one day because it does change the way that I wouldn't say all employers, but older generation employers look for, because in their mindset, that is like end all be all. But I do think that in the next few generations, next few years, that's something that's not so required anymore. Like we said before, like it's not a required expectation to have a college degree. A lot of people now can thrive without it. It just depends on where you're applying, what job you're looking for, how high up in a company you want to work. But my personal experience, I like it. I wouldn't change it.
Very, very good. It's so good. Glad to hear, because there's so many people. And that's my next question to you. Do you have friends either from your class that graduated with you, or friends in your workplace that regret either not going to school or going to school and not pursuing their, having to change? Do you have experiences of other people that you can share with us?
I do have a couple of friends who went to community college right after we graduated high school together because they did not have the financial ability to go to a university, but also they did not know what they wanted to do. So they didn't want to spend lots of money on an undecided degree. Like if you go to a university and you don't know what you want to do, you're just going there because it's a good school, which I've also seen a lot of. You're in this undecided degree category, and then you spend your time and money doing electives, I guess, for like the first semester, and hopefully you figure it out by then. But if not, then you're just racking up loans. I've seen that before. I also, like I said, I had two friends that graduated and went to community college for 2 years to get their associate's degree, and that helped them figure out. One went to college and got her bachelor's degree for 2 more years, and another decided she didn't need it. She had a job already that she liked. She worked for the state. She wanted to keep working for the state. So she wasn't required to continue her education. She didn't want to. And she figured, if I need it, I'll go back and get more education. But why spend the money if it's just going to be a piece of paper in a frame on my office that does not give me any value? So I've seen a little bit of both. And then I've also seen people who will change majors. I had two friends that started with me in the dance program who changed their major halfway through. One went to, I think, an English major, and the other went to business marketing with a minor in dance because she still wanted to dance, but she wanted to continue a career in business management. So she moved on to something that she knew was going to value her career more. And everybody finds their way around it. Usually, if you change majors halfway through, I did take my one friend who changed her major an extra year because there's so many required credits that you have to take. And that's why I say a lot of times it's better if you don't know what you're doing to go for that associate's degree. Save yourself some time, save yourself money in community college, and then you'll figure out, even if you really want to keep going or if you want to do something different. I know a lot of people who've changed their minds. They graduated, like me, they graduated with a dance degree and they're not using their dance degree because they're not dancing, but they have a degree that's benefiting them
Professionally, right. So that's another way that we had not talked about yet in our interviews, is that if you're undecided, if you really don't know what you're doing, our other interviewer, he said, take a year off. Really just take a year off and do work, or go do some internships, or go do something that's going to grow you as a person, for you to have the maturity to make a decision. Because sometimes at 17, you can't make up your mind about what you want. But that's another very good option. Go to a junior college where you're not spending your life savings, and you can work to start putting some money aside to then when you do decide what you want to do. So that's another very, very good option that keeps you on that learning path. So you're not going surfing in Australia for a year, but you're actually doing some people can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
Some people do that.
Yeah.
But if you're not taking that year off just to grow yourself emotionally and physically, just put your mind to who you are as a person, but you want to keep on that learning path. The junior college, like Coach Farrell already said that. Mm-hmm. It's a great way for you to keep on that learning path and not, have to sew off an arm as a down payment for eventually having to pay that off. That sounds very, very good. Gabriella, any last words that you want to leave for our high school students that are, coming to the end of their school career, deciding, do I want to do it? What would you say to them as your last thought?
I would say something that I've seen a lot and experienced myself, like getting out of high school, is that you're never gonna ever know what's gonna happen. So don't think that you have to have it all figured out. There are a handful of people who just are aliens. I don't know where they came from, and they know everything they want to do forever for the rest of their life. They're not real. Don't look at them. But don't think that you have to have everything figured out. It's really stressful to try to decide your college degree, because you're committing to 4 years of something, and maybe you don't like it halfway through the first semester. So if you don't know what you want to do, like you said, just take a year off, take a semester off. You can start whenever you want. You could end whenever you want. If you start a semester of college and absolutely hate it, you don't have to continue. Nothing is set in stone. And like I said, I think that in the next few years, college degrees might be just accessories. I don't think they're going to be required, because like you're saying, a lot of life skills are taught in life and not in a classroom or in a professor situation. So don't feel like you have to decide one thing because everybody else is doing it, or because your family's pressuring you, your friends are pressuring you, your high school's pressuring you. Do whatever you want to do. Just make sure that you have your future in mind and think successfully, versus, nothing's going to come to you. You have to go get it. Just don't think that you have to do everything that people are pushing at you.
Very, very good advice from somebody who's lived it. I am so proud of you. Congratulations on everything that you're accomplishing, everything that you have set out to do. You accomplish it, and you do it very, very well. People miss you when you leave. People want you to come back. They bribe you to come back. And that's so good to see that you make everything work. You find solutions, you make things work, and you have fun at it. People enjoy working with you. And that's so rare nowadays. People don't like going to work. So when they do enjoy going to work because of who they work with, it's such a plus. So Starbucks is so lucky to have you, and but they're taking care of you, and that's so good to see that. So thank you for taking the time and inspiring these kids and showing them what it's like from your perspective. And guys, if you have any questions, the comments are going to stay open. Leave a comment or leave a question for Gabriella, and I'll forward that to her so she can reach out to you and just answer your questions. Thank you so much for taking the time. Enjoy your day off. I know you will. And we will continue talking. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.